Hi. So I did have some requests on showing how I took my planner journal page die and turned it into a little mini album. Now, like I said, this particular set that I have, I got it from, well, Nicole Silhouette's the designer. I think it came from KS Craft Store on AliExpress. But it's really nice because it also has a layering die in there. So I like that. And it came with some what are those called? Polaroid type picture frames. If you've never had a real Polaroid camera, those things were a blast. And then it also comes with some words you can cut into the bottom of the Polaroid die. All right, so first thing you need to do is you need to cut all of your page pieces. So I cut 2 for each page. I have 5 pages, that's 10. And then I cut 3 for the front cover and 3 for the back cover. So 16 in total. So I cut 16 of these pages. I wanted 3 for my front cover and 3 for my back cover for various reasons. A, it makes it much sturdier, and I like my cover to feel stronger than my pages. And this is just 65 pound cardstock. And this is 2 pieces. Oh yeah, okay, so I've glued 2 pieces together twice of this one with the holes, okay? Another thing I need to mention is that when you're going to do it, if you want to put eyelets through your holes, you want to make sure that you test your eyelets before. So, oh fiddlesticks, these eyelets are the pretty big ones. And these would fit my holes. The little tiny eyelets, that we get, just go right through them. So I'm going to use these, and I'm going to use kind of an antiqued looking one. Anyway, I'm sorry you can't see those better. So I did want to talk about those. For ribbon, today I'm just going to use a ribbon that I got from Stampin' Up. And it's a Whisper White. Is it Whisper White? Nope, it's Polka Dot Tulle. I'm going to be using a Polka Dot Tulle ribbon. This is a very stretchy, thin, kind of translucent ribbon. I like it. It's going to get through those little tiny holes much easier. And then I'm also going to use it, provided I don't forget, as a tie on the album covers. All right. Then for your layering pieces, you need to cut 1 for each page front and 1 for each page back. So I have 5 pages, so I need 10 layering pieces. And then I need, for my covers, I need 1 for my front cover and 1 for my back cover. Then you're also going to need a spine. Okay, so now we're going to start making the spine. This is my spine piece, and it measures 8 1/4 by 4 1/4. And the way that I got my measurement was I needed to go from the top here down to here, and that measured 4 1/4. And then I need from my pages a 1-inch gap so I can attach it to my covers, a 1/4 inch space, a 1/2 inch hinge, and a 1/2 inch hinge. So I'm going to score 1 inch, 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches, 2 1/2 inches, 3 inches, 3 1/2 inches, 3 1/4 inches, no, 3 3/4 inches, sorry. 4 and, oh, someone's screaming out, 4 1/2, and so on. So basically, when you score, just think 1 1/4 inch space, 1/2 inch hinge, 1/2 inch hinge, 1 1/4 inch space, 1/2 inch hinge, 1/2 inch hinge, 1/4 inch space, 1/2 inch hinge, 1/2 inch hinge. And when I say 1/4 inch space, this is going to be your space in the book between the pages. That's what I'm referring to. these two score lines here, once again, are the hinges, and this is just to attach. So once I've got it all scored, I need to burnish. And so I'm just going to fold everything up for right now. And I want to make sure that I kind of stay in alignment. So fold. Fold. And fold. And I'm going to continue this. And I'm not going to make you watch. And as soon as I'm done, I'll be back. Okay, so I've got everything scored up now. One thing I do want you to know that, you know, paper is flimsy, right? It tears, and I'm using 65-pound weight paper. It's got a little pearlized on one side, and the pearlized is kind of like a light plastic coating. But what I'm going to do on my back side, some people use Mylar, those envelopes, you know, and they cut a piece and then they glue it down to make it fit. It's nice and thin. I'm lazy. I'm going to use my gaffer tape. And so I'm going to run probably 2 lines on this. It is going to make for a thicker spine, but it's also going to help make sure that my book doesn't tear apart as easily. So I'm going to just lay a line down here. It's not going to completely cover my spine. I don't want it to. So I'm just going to, take my scissors and cut along the edge there. This is not going to show when we're done. All right, I'm just going to kind of burnish it down a bit. And then I'm going to see if I can run another line of this. That would be kind of iffy. I do have a thinner one. Let me go right here. So I'm just going to take my thinner tape. And like I said, you don't have to do this at all. You could do this with any kind of tape that you have. Not cellophane, though. But I would really just use bookbinding tape, or I would get some envelopes from Office Max and cut them apart for the Mylar. Like I said, I'm lazy, so I'm doing this. And the whole reason I'm doing this is so that if my pages start to come apart, they're still going to be held in place with something, and all my work on my book isn't going to be lost. I am going to have to go back and re-burnish everything because of this tape. It is kind of plasticized a little bit, and it is thick, you know, thicker than just regular stuff. So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just going to burnish my edges again. And when I am burnishing my edges, I am making sure to keep everything in good alignment so that my book spine will be straight. Because there's nothing worse than when you put so many hours into creating a project or making a project, it just falls apart. And it looks wonky because you didn't take the time to straighten everything up. All right. Now, one thing I've also done just to make it easy for me, oops, but any little monkey could do it. I just put little dots on the wider scores that just says to me, hey, dummy, this is where the glue goes. I'm going to use a wet glue, and I'm going to use my 450 quick dry adhesive. You might want to use Fabri-Tac. You know, that might actually be the smarter glue to use, although I did use this on the others. Or you could use any good quality glue. You could even use tape, that double stick tape if you wanted. I don't like it. So I think I am going to use my wonderful Fabri-Tac. Ew, it's leaked out and made ookies. Oh, look at this. It's completely sealed itself. Ew. Yuck. I will say one thing for this kind of glue. I think it's acetone glue, acetone based, because, pardon me, but it has the consistency of baby snot. It's not very nice to say. And it will strip your nail polish. All right, so here we go. I'm going to, oops, slurp, there it goes. Okay, I'm just going to put some glue on my score lines, you know, on those bigger score lines area, bigger scored areas. Recap my glue in between each time. All right, now I'm going to fold the 2 1/2-inch scores together. They're going to meet, they're going to make a mountain. And I'm going to take some clips, make a mess, and clip everything together. I love these clips. I don't know where I can find more of them. So if you know, would you please put in the comments below where I can find these awesome clips? They make the best, I don't know, paper vices, I guess is what you could call them. All right, then I'm going to make sure that I fold this piece up out of the way, because I don't want any seepage gluing this together, because remember, this is where I'm gluing it to the book, and then this is going to be my little 1/4-inch space. So I'm going to just turn this up, and I'm going to let this dry for a minute. While this dries, I'm going to talk about the envelope page that we're doing, and then I'm going to go and I'll glue one more for you, and then I'm going to go off camera to glue the rest of it. So one of the pages in the album had a bunch of stacked envelopes, and this is a really cool idea. I don't know where I found it on YouTube, but I did find it on YouTube. Some lady had done them. She glued some envelopes willy-nilly together, and it was way cool. And then you could lift them up and you could look inside and, you know, put little stuff in each envelope. So every envelope will be a working envelope. You make your own, or I guess if you're rich, you could go buy them all. This one started life as a 6x6 square, and the very first, you know, you put the edge up with your 3 inches, you line it up 3 inches with your envelope punch board. And I used the mini envelope punch board. It worked great. So I just lined it up at 3 inches, notched it, turned it, lined up the little nozzle with the already scored line, notched, scored, and did that all the way around. So, you know, you just make a basic square envelope. However you can make a basic square envelope, go for it. The next one is started out as a 5-inch square. In this one, I just lined it up at the 2-inch mark, punched and scored. This is actually now a 3 1/4-inch size once it's made, but it started out as a 5-inch square. This one, oopsie, started life as a 4-inch square. And so I just lined it up at the 2-inch mark, punched and scored, and then continued to, you know, line it up with the nozzle all around and score and punch. And it is now a 2 1/2-inch envelope. And then the little baby envelope started out life as a 3-inch square. And I lined it up at the 1/2-inch edge, punched and scored, and then just, you know, continued to line up the nozzle with the score line the rest of the way around. And this one made a little bit over 1 3/4, I'd say 1 7/8 inch envelope squared. So I'm going to be using these on one of the pages, and then I just inked the edges because I just thought it looked nice. This paper I'm using is kind of a vintagey feel. You know, it just kind of looks old and raggedy, which I kind of like because, hey, I'm old and raggedy, right? So good deal with that. All right, that's how you do that. Now let's have a look at this and see how we're doing with our drying. It worked. There. So there's our back. And here's our front. So now I'm going to go ahead, put glue on these two thick areas, my 1/2 inch areas. Making sure that I fold that 1/4 inch area up and out of the way. And I'm just gonna oopsie doopsie run my glue around, make a mess, because that's what I'm good at. There we go. Put my glue nozzle on. And then fold my 1/4 inch areas together to create the next hinge system. And I'm going to use my binder clips that I love, that I need more of. I got all these as gifts actually, which was like way cool. I got them in swaps and stuff. I like the smaller ones, not really the larger ones so well. All right, then I'm going to fold that back. And I'm going to let that dry. And I'm just going to continue this process all the way across. And as you can see, I'm just making the hinges for my pages. So let me do that and I'll come back. I've gotten my spine piece all glued together, and this is what it looks like. Back, front, and you can see it's just kind of floppy right now. That's all right, we're going to fix that. But first what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to ink up some little bits of it. So I'm just going to take my ink dauber and I'm just, oopsie, basically going to try to go down in my spaces. And as you can see, it looks messy. That's fine, I don't care. I want it to look aged. So I'm just, like I said, going down in my spaces. It is getting on the hinge, but the part on the hinge isn't going to show once I get my pages in place. And I know you're still wondering, how are we going to do those darn pages? Well, I'll show you in just a minute. Just want to get this inked up. And I'm not doing a really super good job. Oops. Alrighty. There we go. I'm inked up and I'm messy looking. And that's fine. It's going to all come together in the end. So, now that I've got my spine done, I want to attach it to my cover. I'm going to, oh, and one note about some of your dies. Some of your dies may not be symmetrical. And if they're not symmetrical, you're going to have to pay really careful attention to how you cut them out. If you look at this die, it has like 2 bubbles here, and then a little notch, and then it has the place where the binder rings go. And then if you look at the bottom, it just has like a bubble, and a bubble. So as you can see, they don't match. So I just had to be very careful when I cut them out and think about my placement. Okay, so now I have this done. I'm going to go ahead and remember I told you I glued 2 of these together. Yeah, all I did. So now I'm just going to very carefully fold this out of the way. If you wanted to put tape in between the 2 on that, you could as well. So now I need to have a back cover for this because I want to cover it up. I don't want you to see it. See, aren't you glad I'm showing you my mistakes so you don't make them? So I measured this, and it measures almost 4.5 centimeters, or 1 3/4 inches. So I cut a piece of paper that was 4 1/4 in length by 3 3/4, and I scored down 1 inch of it. Scored down a 1 inch side. And basically what I'm going to do is just put this right over the top of it. So I'm going to line up my 1 inch edges, and I think my glue is still wet enough, and it will adhere to that score line. I may need to add just a tad more glue. So let me do that. So I only scored it on 1 inch going down the 4 1/4 side. So I scored it in at 1 inch. And that was just so I could line up the edges. This edge with, you know, the edge here and the edge there. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of burnish and hope this helps make that glue evaporate and dry. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the back of my spine, and I'm going to adhere this to this. So my spine piece to my cover piece, my spine covering piece, I guess I should call it. So I'll just put some glue on that. And then I'm just going to press it down in place, giving it a good rub at the same time, because I do want that glue to spread out and adhere. Like I said, you may have to do a little finagling because with this glue, sometimes the paper does shift. And I'm just going to let this dry in place. Once it's dry in place, then I'm just going to take this score line from this inner piece, my spine piece, fold it up, and then just fold my cover piece around it. So I'm not measuring exactly, but I'm making sure it'll fit. And then I'm just going to glue that together. And as you see, they don't match. That's fine. It's not going to show. So I'm just going to glue that up. Ever adjusting. I think art glitter glue would hold really well with this, if you have any of that, because otherwise you're going to be stuck kind of holding and pressing and making sure things don't lift up. Yeah, it looks like that's pretty good. And then if you really want to get fancy, you could take a piece of your designer series paper, which is just a fancy term for the good stuff, you know, the paper you're making your album out of. And I thought I had prepped a piece for the back spine. Which I did, but I'm just not quite sure where it is right now, so I think we're going to leave that then until I find it. Okay. So I'm just gonna give it another burnish. All right. Once I've got that burnished, then I'm going to take this edge and put it right up to, but not crossing the fold line of my back piece. I'll do it on that side so it'll match up just like that, so that this will be able to kind of fold over a little bit. So I'm going to glue that in place. And I'm just pressing the other side that I didn't burnish down well enough. Okay. Putting my wonderful sticky stuff on there. Lining up my spine piece with my decorative lacy place that I'm going to put the lace on. And remember, like I said, I am going up to, but not crossing over where this folds, the fold line for that area. And then this I'm going to have to hold as I kind of burnish in place because, like I said, it slides and I don't want it to slide on me. All right. And then you're like, well, Jean, you've got this ugly thing showing. Well, I'm going to cover it up. Have faith. I'll take care of it. Remember I told you that I wanted my cover to be 3 layers thick? I do. So I took the pieces I cut and I just cut off the binder hole punch areas. And so I just put it in my scoreboard and then lined up my edges and then just cut it right off. I did this for 1, 2, 10, 12 pieces. So all my pages were cut like that and my inside covers. And I'm going to do a page with you in a minute. And so then I'll show you how that works. But right now I'm going to just go ahead and glue this in so that you have an idea of what it's going to look like. I'm just going to put glue all over the back of it. And remember, I told you that my die is not symmetrical. So I have to be really careful when I put this on that I put it on in the right direction and don't mess things up, or they're not going to line up nicely at all. So my 2 bubbles, 3 bubble edge is going to line up with this 3 bubble edge. And I'm going to just lay this down. Get that nasty little bit of glue off me. And I'm just going to adhere it right on top. Pray it doesn't shift. Oops. And look, we're all covered up. I am going to, you know, use some ink and distress the outside and the inside. So we're not done yet. And then I'm thinking, because I've got this little bit of cracking going on here, I may or may not put a little piece of tape on that. I'm not sure. It's not going to really hurt the integrity of my book at all, because my book is held together with all this glue. And then, of course, I've got the tape on the inside. All right. So now I'm going to take my next back spine, and I'm going to butt this up, this edge of my spine piece up with this piece inside. I'm going to make sure that I do not glue over my fold line. So I'm just right now placing it. I'm sorry you can't see it. Oh, golly, I didn't turn my light on. I'm bad. I'm sorry. Trying to turn it up brighter. It's one of these cheap little things, you know, that you get. because I'm not a big fancy YouTuber. I'm just me. All right, so I'm going to put my glue on. Gross. And like I said, you know, if you like nail polish, boy, I wouldn't use this glue because it will just take it right off. And then I don't know if you know this, but acetone is very bad for your nails because it will, oh, wrong lid, because it will cause them to split and crack and all kinds of nasty things, which is why I broke my nail off earlier. And that was my very own fingernail too. That was sad. All right, so I'm just lining it up, butting it up to the edge. I know you can't see, and I do apologize. Just like that. And I'm making sure that my 3 bubble edge and my 3 bubble edge are both down at the bottom. Because on one book I didn't. I was so mad at myself. I had to take it apart and then recut pages and do everything else. It wasn't fun. I was very angry. All right, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, making sure it stays straight, I am going to find my other inside cover page that I cut off. Maybe. Maybe not. I may have to go and cut a piece very quickly. Let me just check again. For goodness sake. Well, I've lost it, so that's fine. I'm just going to take another piece that I had cut for a page, and when we get ready to make the pages, I'll go off and cut a page, and then I'll come back. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to take my trimmer, and I'm just going to line it up. See how I just made a straight line? It's going to take off a little bit of the top of the bubbles, but that's okay. And I'm just going to cut it straight up so that it'll fit. So that's what I'm doing right now. And the very best cutting tool that I've found for me is the Fiskars that has the little wire guide in it, because that little wire guide shows me exactly where my blade's going to go. And I found I get much better precision cutting that way. So here's my piece of paper. I'm just going to lay it on top so I can cover up my mistake. And you know what? Remember I told you that when you're cutting your papers, you have to really pay attention to the direction if they are non-symmetrical dies, like mine are not symmetrical. So what I had to do was, my paper's also only coated on one side. So in order to get, you know, mirror images, I had to line them up with kind of like I was sewing. So I wanted right sides together and then cut it off. So I'm going to have to do that because to get this one to match, I need to do that. So I'm going to now line it up and cut it off with my trimmer again. This channel should be called Jean Makes the Boo-Boos, so you don't have to. All right. And then I'm going to check it out and say, it shifted. I may have to trim this just a little bit more to get everything to line up nicely. I think I'm just going to take off the thinnest little bit off of that corner because I don't like the way that it's sitting. sitting a little too close to the edge. So I just took off a sliver. And now I'm going to glue this on top. And I'm going to hide that spine. So get my wonderful gooey glue out again. I really do like this glue. I mean, it's awesome. If you make a mistake, it kind of balls up like, ew, baby snot. You can roll it off the paper. Doesn't that sound gross? I think it's gross. Want to hear a funny story? I'm a nurse. True story. I don't like blood. I don't like seeing it. I don't like it coming out of people. I don't like blood. And I don't like goo. Okay. All right, I'm going to just put this in place. Matching it up perfectly. Wow, this did match up perfectly. There we go. And now I have my front cover and my back cover. And you're like, well, what about this area? We'll get to it. Be patient. All right. So I need to go and I'm going to cut 2 of these, actually probably just one of them, off camera, and I'll come back and then I'll show you how we put our pages together. Hi. Okay, so I've cut my other piece of paper that'll fit on there nicely. And once again, I'm just going to, using my cutting tool, I'm just going to line up the cutting tool so I can just cut this part with the rings off and have a nice straight line. And that'll help me put my pages together. So I'm going to do that. And like I said, I absolutely love the Fiskars cutting board that has the wire in there. All right, so now I've got my 2 pages. I'm making sure that I've got my pearlescent side on the outside. And I know that I want my pages to have the 2 bubble end up. See, 1 bubble, 2 bubble, and then the tiny thing. Yeah, I want it up like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put glue along this side and the bottom. And that's it. Because I want to go ahead and use the top as a pocket page because I want to be able to put more pictures in here or more junk. Right. That glue is not going to work because I accidentally left the top off of it. I'll have to fix that later. All right, so I'm just using a regular wet glue. I don't need to use the gooey glue because I don't need that kind of stick. So I'm just using my regular wet glue. I'm going down the long outside edge. And then I'm going across the bottom edge. And I'm getting close to the edge, you know, as close as I can. And I am not going to go up the sides. And I'm just going to take one piece, put it right on top of the other, lining it up perfectly. And then squishing it down. And finagling with it to get it into alignment. Okay, while I have that done, it's easier for me to go ahead and glue on the outside sheet. Now I have prepped my other pages, so excuse me, I kind of know, you know, in what order I want them to go. So this is going to be my first set. So I'm going to want this piece of paper to be, I don't know what you call it, on the book cover side. So I'm just going to glue that down making sure, because it's words, that all my words are going in the correct direction. And this I'm just gluing flat down. And I'm sorry I'm not a quick gluer. Watching glue dry is just so much fun, isn't it? Okay. And I'm just going to put it down on my inside cover. And this was the layering die that came with the set. And it just looks really good. I really like it. Like I said, I don't like planners, or I do like them at work, but I don't really use planners for anything other than work. And so I don't know why I bought these dies, but I'm really glad I did, because then I discovered I can make mini albums out of it. Okay, there we go. Now, on one of the pages that I made before, and I have already put designer series paper on, I'm going to make sure that that goes on the next page. But first, before I do that, let's go ahead and let's just ink up our page. Let's take my ink dauber, and I'm just going to laugh as it has nothing on it. Okay, and just kind of run it around my paper. I want it to have that kind of vintagey, grungy feel. Ta-da! Okay, there we go. And I will put my lids back on everything. And now I will get ready to take my lid off of everything. All right. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to insert my ribbon before I put my cover pieces on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slightly different thing using a rivet, but we'll see how that goes. I may change my mind on that. All right, so I'm going to put my first page in place. And this is just, I glued the two pieces of paper together at the bottom, and at one side left the straight side open, because that's where I'm going to insert my spine. And then this will be the top of my page where my tag inserts into. So I'm just going to, everybody does it differently. This is how I do it. I am going to run glue along the side of my spine and the side of my spine. And by the way, if you don't like the sides of your spine being so high, mine are 1/2 inch, you don't have to make them 1/2 inch. Once you get this technique down, you can go ahead and you can make them 1/4 inch if you want. I think one thing that I'm going to do first, though, is just snip on all my edges. I'm just taking off a little, oh fiddlesticks, little triangular piece to make them fit better. I will pick it up and show you just a minute. But if you make mini albums, you've seen this technique done 1,000 times before. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to put glue on both sides of my spine. If you're uncomfortable doing it both sides at once, you can do it one at a time. But I like to do it both sides at once, because then it's over and done with. I told you I'm a lazy when it comes to doing this. All right, I'm going to take my page. I'm going to make sure it's lined up properly, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip it right on top of my spine hinge. So my hinge is going in between those two pages, down to the fold. I'm going to make sure that it lines up in that straight area, and you'll be able to see that straight area. And then I'm just going to hold it and kind of burnish my edges a little bit. And I am using the Tonic Studios glue for this, so hopefully it will dry fairly quickly. It seems to dry really quickly in the bottle, so it should dry pretty quickly here. So first page done. And you may just, you know, want to give it a little squish every now and then as you're working on the other pages too. Okay, first page done. Now I'm going to get my second page. See, I've completed this page set. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put some glue along both sides of my spine, this side and the back side, and I'm going to slip my page so that that hinge goes in between the two pages that are attached together. I'm going to open up the page, and then I'm just going to slip it right over the top of that spine, making sure once again that everything is even and symmetrical, and then just burnishing that page onto that spine, making sure that the glue is also rubbed in there so it adheres better. It's kind of hard to adhere things a little bit to this pearlescent paper. Okay, and there I've got 2 pages in my book. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these off camera. Also, I'm going to give my phone a chance to charge. I will put the rest of the pages in. I will put the end cover sheet in, and then we will do the inside of the album, which is the most fun part, I think. Okay, so I've got all my pages in my book now. See, there they are. And I went ahead and when I put this page or this paper down, I inked it. I put my paper on the back and I inked it. I am not going to do my front cover with the same paper, even though I could. I just have a different idea for it. I want to go ahead and cover up this white. And so what I did was I just measured my inside spine, cut a piece of paper down, and I'm just going to glue that right in place there. And I think before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and ink the edges just to stay consistent with everything I'm doing. So I'm not even really like inking them that much. I'm just kind of daubing here and there, I guess. Okay, good enough because the print's so busy. All right, now I will just put glue on the back. I've got to decide which. The printing, actually, this little printed area, I really like that. And it doesn't matter which direction my page or my paper goes, it's going to go right in the center no matter what. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that in place. Once I have this glued in place, I think we'll go ahead and just set the studs, or not studs, what are they called? The eyelets. We'll go ahead and set the eyelets for our laced up area that we're going to lace up. I just put my paper in, and now I just have to kind of move it around and give it a good burnish. The spine does want a curve, which is, you know, it's nice, but it just makes it all the more challenging to glue your papers in place and to get them to stay and look nice. And don't worry if your sides don't cover up perfectly, because they're not going to be visible once we have done the lacing. Okay, I told you I had an idea for the front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put gold, and then I have a paper similar to this that I'm going to put on it, and I think it'll look really pretty. But I'll do that in a little bit. So first I need my eyelets, which I had and I put away. Oh my goodness. I will find my eyelets and be right back. Okay, here we go. So I have chosen my eyelets. I don't have any bright gold eyelets, which would have been what I want since I'm going to put gold on the cover, but I do have these antique-y looking ones. And I'm just going to set it in there, and then using my Crop-A-Dile. Oh dear, you know what? Maybe I should have set my eyelets earlier. Would have been easier. Crunch it down. Check out the back. I don't really like the way this one set. It didn't set nicely. Pop it out. I'm wondering if it's because maybe I had the wrong base. Let's try a different base. See if this works. Oh, that worked perfectly. There we go. I've got the first one in. I'll just set these fairly quickly. So now I have those in. And notice I distressed the edges. So I'm just going to take some ribbon. And if you wanted to, like you have this kind of ribbon, you can distress that. I've seen people use Distress ink on it. I don't like it. It's distressed, but that's okay. That's me. I think I'll just use this ribbon though to lace it up. So I'm just going to do a basic lace like I would my tennis shoes. In, out, in, out, in, out. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. And in all honesty, it would be easier if you put the eyelets in before you glued stuff together. But, you know, Jean makes the mistake, so you don't have to. Learn from my boo-boos. Trying to squish the ribbon down so I can get it through the hole. And I can't do it so you can see it. I apologize. Take a bobby pin, poke her through. You could get really fancy, I guess, lacing this up. I don't know any fancy laces. I just know my basic tie my shoe one. I think I was lucky to learn how to tie my shoes. I remember my dad teaching me. And I remember being kind of stupid and not, like, getting it right away. But that's okay, because I now wear shoes that slip on. I'm just trying to poke my lace, not my lace, my lacing through the last hole. Okay, there we go. So I've got it laced up. You could lace up, you could lace down, you know, however you want to do it. If you wanted to just do a tie through here, make a bow, tie through there, make a bow, tie through there, make a bow, it'd be cute too. I mean, you know, no matter how you want to do it. So I'm just going to tie my bow. And I'm sure I'll readjust my bow once I get other things inside my There. And there is that. Oh, and you know what? Ha ha ha. My bow is at the bottom because I laced upside down. But I like that too. All right, so now the fun stuff begins. We're going to do some fancy things to the pages. And so for one of my pages, I'm going to put in a page that will flip out, a flip out page. And I've already adhered a magnet to this part and a magnet underneath, and they match up. They're not very strong magnets, and I did use stupid tape, which I shouldn't have used, but I did. And I'm just going to adhere the papers that I want covering on the inside and the, oops, cover outside. Just going to adhere those down really quickly. I'm probably going to have to do some trimming. And then, of course, I need to do my distress inking. So, glue that baby down. And this is like the easiest flip out page I've ever done in my life. Usually it seems so a little fiddly, but no, this one was super, super simple. Okay, so there's my outside. And for my inside, I have chosen to use this sort of brick facing paper. And it was in the collection that I used. I used that Bo Bunny collection that I got at Michael's. That was the, what did I say it was? 6x8 paper. Okay. I'm just going to glue this in. The whole reason I didn't go ahead and, now I did cut, you know, my, oh goodness sake. I did cut my page out of one piece of paper and folded it in half, my page base. But I would not do that with the designer paper because I've noticed that, you know, there's some cracking taking place and I don't really like that. All right, I may or may not have to trim. I'm not thinking I will. Let me get this on. When you use magnets, make sure that they're not very thick. I'm sure you already know that. Because if they're too thick, they're going to look ugly. And then make sure that they can hold through like 4 layers of paper. You know, that they're strong enough to do that. I have got my fold done. I'm going to just burnish again. I'm going to take my distress ink and I'm going to distress all my edges. So I have my page. I'm just checking it out. Thinking I'm going to trim a little bit down. I'm not sure I really needed to, but I did. Okay, so there's my page. I'm just going to glue it on top of this page. I think that would look cool. Or if I wanted to, I mean, I could find a page that has, ooh, higher contrast, maybe that page. Or, sorry, that light was getting in my eyes. Well, I could do it on the map page I don't like. Ooh, or just this pink page. Or I can do it on the green page. And you know what? One of my pages is up too high. I'm going to have to pull it out and try to redo it. Okay, so I got that page fixed. It had slipped while it was drying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flip page now, and I decided I wanted on this green backing, and I'm just going to kind of look at where I think it looks centered the best, and I'm going to go ahead and glue it on down, trying to use my glue bottle that the glue comes out a little bit quicker on. Which is clearly not the one I grabbed. Oh dear. Okay, well, let me try a different bottle of glue. Oh, yep, this is the right bottle. So just glue in my paper. Too much for me. All right, I've got my page glued down. I'm just going to give it a little burnish on the inside. And notice I didn't use that Fabri-Tac or the other glue. I just used my tonic glue to glue it down because it works very well. Right. And now we have completed our flip out page. And if you wanted to, you could do these, you know, throughout the whole book, and then you would have even more places to put pictures, but I didn't do that. I just made a bunch of fun stuff. Because the cover that I want to go with is going to be this. I decided I kind of wanted to have a little bit of a musical theme going on. Now, I did make this waterfall page. Obviously, I prepped it before I came on, but the way that I did this was very simple. Each square here is 3.5 by 3, and then I scored it at a 1/2 inch at the top so I could just glue it down to a piece of 3-inch paper. And so that gives me my flips. To hold it down, I'm going to use a tiny Velcro dot, and I may even just cut it in half. These are very tiny. But first I need to see exactly where it's going to be in my book. And I really liked, well, there are 2 pages I really like. I really like the pink page because I think it's, oh, sorry, I think it's really sweet. And then I also really like the flowered page, but then I kind of think maybe that's too busy, so we'll go with the pink. And when I center it, I see that it just will work. So I'm going to put my glue on the back. And glue it down. And then if I want, even if I want to cut down some pictures and have little tiny pictures, I can do that. Or I can use it as a journaling spot, or, you know, maybe I'll find some awesome, I don't know, news articles or something. And of course, who wants to watch the news these days, right? We won't go there. All right, now I'm just going to give it a burnish. Kind of burnish that into place. And then I think I want to put something kind of heavy on it to hold it, to help it lay down flat. It kind of curled. after I made it last night because I didn't put anything on it. So while that is doing that, let's go back to our envelopes. I have my 4 envelopes out. And I'm just going to lay them on top of here just to kind of measure and get a layout. I don't want them to go over the edges. That's the whole purpose. So I'm going to put my biggest one down and take my second largest size. And I think I might layer it like that. There's still room. It's not going over my page. Then I'll take my third one. I think I'll go like that with the third one. And then my itty bitty baby envelope, I might just do it kind of like that. So let me use a clip to get those 3 in place. So the first thing I'm going to do, like I said, I was just using that gold piece as a template to make sure I didn't go over any edges. What I want to do is I want to be able to lift up every flap of every envelope. And I'm probably going to use Velcro on the last 3, but not this one. So I said I kind of wanted it like this. That means, and I'm lucky I got the polka dots, you know, so I can kind of line it up via the polka dots. Maybe I could make it a little lower if I wanted. Hey, I could. It's just all whatever floats your boat. But I only want to get my glue on the flap, on the top flap, because I want to be able to lift it up. So I'm just going to go for it and hope. Okay, let's see how that looks. All right, so it's going to go down just like that. And I'm going to hold that there for a moment, kind of give the glue a squish. So now what will happen is that I'll be able to get something in here, and I'll be able to lift up this envelope, and I'll be able to use it and get something in there as well. So now I want to glue on. Oops. I'm using my clip to hold the other 2 in place because, you know, I need my sizing. So now I want to glue this black one on. So I'm going to glue it to this flap. And I'm going to hope I don't goober it up, because I've been known to do it. Okay, let's see. And I think I had it turned at a wee bit of an angle. Yep, I think I like that. And I will hold it up in just a moment. So that's kind of my pile of envelopes. I want them to kind of look like, you know, you just threw them all down. All right, and then the next one I'm going to glue is going to be this one. So I'm just going to hold that in place and put glue on, on the flap. Oh, for crying out loud. Just the flap, guys, just the flap. And then because I accidentally got its mirror on the envelope, I'm just going to turn it like that and hold that. I'm going to put some more glue under the flap here. I'm going to burnish that down. Okay. And I'm going to bring my template back and cry if it doesn't fit. And it does. It fits. It fits within my space. Not very well, but it'll fit. It'll fit within my space. And then off of AliExpress, I got these faux wax seals. And I thought, well, maybe I'll see what one looks like. Because I had done that on one of the other albums. And they're kind of huge. But I think that'll be okay. I think that'll be cute. And I think the weight will keep that one envelope down. So I'm just going to give everything a good burnish once again. Peel off my sticker backing. It says 3M, so let's hope that the adhesive really is 3M and that it's nice and strong. I'm going to put my little faux wax seal right there. I think that's cute. Usable envelope space for my little, what do you call it? Memorabilia and goodies like that. And maybe some little tiny pictures, I'm not sure. Okay, so I've got that. Then I'm going to use the Velcro dots to hold some of them down. And who doesn't love self-adhesive Velcro dots, right? And if you can find the itty-bitty ones, oh my gosh, they're even best. I think I found mine at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to put it on my envelope and boom, push my envelope over, take my next one. If I can grab my next one. Put it on my envelope, boom, put it over, and then my last one. And who knows, I mean, I may end up using one on that little tiny envelope, I'm not really sure. But I'm putting it on my flap and sticking it over. And in 24 hours, those will be set. And so then you can, you know, get in and out of your envelopes. You can put little tags in there, just kind of whatever. I think in this one, I'm going to put fortunes from my husband and I like to go to Panda Express. And we giggle at the fortunes. All right, let's see. How could I do this? All right. I am going to use, I think, just a piece of another one on the tiny little envelope. So I just cut less than half of the Velcro off. I'm trying to take my plastic off on each side. And of course, it's sticking to my nail. I'm just going to put my Velcro down and pop it in place. This one I'm going to cheat and lift up just to make sure, yes, it went fine. It didn't cover anything bad. And there you have it. And if you wanted to, I guess you could, you know, maybe pop a wax seal on somewhere else. I really don't think it needs any more than that. And this has been distressed. On this page, I need to pop one of the Velcro dots on here so it will hold that page down. So I'm going to do that. Don't know why I bothered to cut through it when I didn't go all the way with it. I'm just putting that on the back side of the little, I don't know what you call it, the band that holds it in place. And then I'm just going to pray and smush it down. And I'm going to pick it up just to make sure. Close, but no cigar. Okay. And there I have that one holding that down. So I have my double page there. I have my waterfall here. I'm thinking about putting the envelopes. I think it would be fun to put them on the page that has all the maps, because one of the envelopes is made out of vintage cameras. Isn't that cute? So I thought that might look fun there. Kind of like, oh, you were traveling and you sent a bunch of pictures. So I'm going to put that one right there. So I'm just going to smear glue all over the back here. I really like this stacked envelope idea. I don't know who it was that first came up with it, but it was an ingenious idea. It was so cute. There we go. And then I have a couple more really cute little ideas that I like. So this, I just took a piece of the designer paper and I took, I don't know who made this punch. It says made in Taiwan, Martha Stewart maybe. And I took the punch and I just punched a design. And I did that through 2 pieces of designer paper because I wasn't sure if I would want to use this side or this side, but I am really in love with these roses. And I thought I could just use them. Oh my God, I did it on the wrong page. Ah, why didn't you tell me? You did. Okay. So my envelopes, I didn't put on my map page like I wanted. I ended up putting them on my other page with the writing. Darn. Oh, that makes me sad. But that's okay. Because I think I will put my roses right here. They're busy, busy, busy too. But I could use that and then, oh, or I could use the musical side. I think I might do that. I might use the musical side. Let me check my musical stickers real quickly. I went to Dollar Tree and they had puffy stickers that weren't obnoxious. And I like them. So let me see if I have one that, oh, I like the violin. Well, actually, it's a viola maybe because they have a smaller violin. Oh, I like the bass. You know what? I like that. I'm going to put that on there and I'm going to use that on the map page. And then that's going to become a tuck spot. So I am just going to spread my back with glue. Because even though it seems to be pretty darn good adhesive, I still am not going to trust it. And I'm going to put my bass or my cello, haven't decided which it is. Just like that. I'm going to put glue down the straight edge and the bottom edge. I'm going to leave this edge open to tuck things in. Because this is a double piece of paper, it's going to hold up a lot better when you tuck things in it than just a single piece of paper would. Gosh, that makes me so, ooh, I could put it on that page too. Oh, what do you think? You think maybe that would look nicer? I think it would look nicer on that page. We might have to do that page. Let me see. I also had a belly band somewhere that I was thinking about using somewhere. But I may have lost that. So let's go with this for now. Yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah, roses and music, yes, they go together for me. So I'm going to run my glue at the bottom of my piece of paper here, my tuck spot. And if you wanted to, you could make another envelope. You know, like I ran out of paper. I used practically the entire paper pack. And I probably should have distressed this, but I can go back in later with my my ink. No, I can go back in right now. I'm sure I have enough ink on it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I do not. My ink dried out. And if anybody knows the difference between, you know, like what is a distress oxide exactly? Because I don't really understand the difference in inks. I mean, I know that some are waterproof. I know that some are supposed to be archival, so I guess that means they're not having an acidic base or something. I don't know. If you know the difference in inks, so please educate me, because I would like to know. There you go. And I just ink the edges, and now we have, oops, if I can get something in there, now we have a little tuck spot. And that'll be fun for a tag or a picture or even an envelope for me to put more crap in, because I don't have enough. Oh, I like that. Very nice. Okay. Now I have this page, and I have something I could do to it. I'm just trying to do one on each set of two. So I've got envelopes, got my tuck spot, I've got my waterfall, and then I have my pull out, and then I have nothing. We have to do something there too. I'm not quite sure what yet. But while I was on YouTube this morning, I saw this lady, and she made a lace-up pocket, and it was way cool, and she used a special template and everything. And I thought, well, gee whiz, you know, I've got the dies that already have the holes in them. So I just cut a couple of my dies, and then I just cut across, and I didn't really measure too much. I just made sure my sides were all the same. Like this. And so then you lace it up, and then you can use it as a pocket, and I thought that would be fun. So this piece of paper is 5.5 by 4 inches. And then I scored up 1 inch from the bottom, boop, just like that, and folded it up. And I'm just going to glue it at the very edges, just to hold it in place, like that. And then because I didn't have double-sided paper, and I really kind of like this vintagey paper, I just cut a 1 inch piece to go across the bottom. And so it is 1 inch by 4. And I'm just going to glue that on as well. And that's just going to add some strength to my pocket, so I can slide pictures or a tag or whatever I want in and out of it. And I thought this was just such a stinking cute idea. I tell you, people are just so smart. But isn't that fun? It's going to be another way to utilize this planner die. Okay, so there is what I have so far. The next thing I'm going to do is I have my side pieces that I cut out. And I don't know if you can see. Oh my gosh, I forgot my light again. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I don't know if you can see, but there are indentations for, you know, where the layering piece goes on. So I just cut a piece of the paper, and I want to match it up to where it goes with the layering piece, which I just did. And I'm going to glue that into place right on top of it. It's going to add some strength to my paper. And the reason I didn't cut my paper down exactly was because I have to be able to line up the bubbles. And I wanted to be sure I could line them up exactly so they all match well. And I'm just putting them right to the edge of the little score line there. So that's what I have. And then I'm going to go back in with my scissors and I'm going to cut. I have a little bit overhang there. I'm just going to cut that off. And I'm going to trim it at the bottom as well. And at the top. There we go. One side piece ready to go. I'm going to do the same for my other side piece. I don't know, I'm weird. I got all excited when I saw that lady make hers. She called hers a corset because she had hers be in a corset shape. I just got all excited. I was like, oh my God, I can do that with that tie. All right, I'm just going to lay this down. And press it in place. And I'm going to trim off the excess from the back side. That way I'm sure that everything fits well. I am so stinking excited about this. Okay, so now I've got that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my pocket and I am just going to glue on using this little fold in the back. I just folded it over 1/4 of an inch, but if you wanted to, you could fold yours over more. And I'm just going to slide that on, and I'm going to glue it on the back of my fold to the back of my pocket so that this will come over it. So I just put glue on it. I'm going to just slide this in place. Just like that. I'm going to do the same here. And remember, like I said, when I cut these, I cut out 2 pieces of the die, and then I just cut straight across. And then I just made them whatever width I wanted. And so for this one, I made it so that it would fit in this book. Put my glue here. Going to just burnish. And just burnish here. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we just have to lace it. If we wanted to, we could go ahead and put in the crocodile stuff. Should we do that? Should we do eyelets? Ooh, maybe we should. I'm not sure how many I have left. So we'll just take a look and see what I have. I don't know. I'd have to have 6 the same color. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I never use these big ones. So I just don't have many. Well, okay. I guess what I'll do is I'll use this gunmetal color, because I don't have any of the kind of coppery ones that I used for the other. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll just go ahead and we will set our eyelets. or not. Not quite sure what's going on here. I'm not able to do it. Well, even if I can't set my eyelets, you could use hole punch reinforcers if you wanted to, if you even felt the need. There we go. That one worked. I don't know what the deal was with it. Oh my God. Because I'm out of my nice little, whatever it's called, my nice little tiny ribbon. But I hadn't planned on using that with this album anyway. I just kind of ended up using it. So I'm just going to do the same kind of lacing that I did, only this time I'm making sure I'm starting from the bottom. Just going to cut myself a nice long piece of lace. Probably waste a lot of it. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely going to be wasteful. Please don't tell. All right. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so cute. And I'm just doing a regular lace. I hope you're following along. I hope you're doing a regular lace. I don't know how you'd follow along. I didn't give you warning on what I was going to do, but I don't know. If you like this, I could do a more in-depth tutorial exactly on how I cut it from the die, but I think if you just kind of look at your die, you could figure it out, you know. It wasn't really difficult once I got the concept in my brain. Oh, for goodness sake. My bobby pin. Oh, don't look at how much ribbon I have wasted. Isn't that cute? Now I'm just going to tie a bow. This video is way too long. I think I may have to try to cut it up into two. I tied my bow. And it's kind of cute. Oh my God. And it's a little pocket, and so I can just put stuff in there. So let's find a page for it. I think it has to go on the map. Right? We can pretend that it's dresses from all over the world or something, or dress forms from all over the world. Yep. That's where it's going to have to go. Right there. I like that. And I'll just glue that on. Actually, I think I'll glue it toward the bottom of the page, because that way I can have a tag kind of standing out of it. So I'm just going to put glue over the back. And I'm going to put that down on my page. Really would have liked it on that rose page, but I really kind of messed up when I didn't put my one thing down on the map page like I had wanted. The envelopes. That would have just been so cool. Okay, but I think that's really cool. And I think I need to come back in and ink the edges a little bit. So I'll do that, and then I'll be back. So I finished decorating the album. I used Prima flowers. I did add some ribbon to make a closure. I just glued it underneath the gold paper before I glued it on. And then I cut a new piece of paper in the back and sandwiched the ribbon between it and glued the new piece of paper on top of it. I like that better. I'm showing you the Dollar Tree stickers. I really like those stickers. I think it's a beautiful collection. It doesn't look like a cheap little puffy sticker, does it? I also used some gold flat back pearls on it. I used some Nouveau drops. I changed out the ribbon in the back to make it match the ribbon that I used to tie it, and also on top of the tags that I created. I used ephemera from a package I got at the Lawrence Craft Company. It's very pretty, and then I went ahead and inked the edges to distress it. And I'm just showing you the tags that I made. I love that ephemera. I just really thought it was beautiful. And then we're going to take a look inside the book. The ribbon's a little bit fiddly because it tends to want to stick together because it's kind of a little bit netty. You know, it has netting on it. There I am showing you our envelope pages. And then I did end up taking my fortunes, and I'm just going to fold them up, and I'm going to put them in my envelope, so I'll have some good memories of my husband and I going out to Panda Express. I'm showing you how the tags fit into the pocket. They just go right in the top, slip in there, and they fit very nicely. There I am measuring it. I think it was 3.5 by 5 was the size that I made the tags. And there is our tuck spot. I made a little tag for it as well. I didn't put any lace on the top of it. You know, I didn't feel the need to. And I decided that was a cello. And then this is our lace-up pocket page. I did make a tag for it because after all, it's a pocket. It's got to hold something. So there we go. I love that lace-up page. And then, of course, we have our waterfall. Very simple, but very nice. And then we have our fold-out page, and I thought after I made it what would have been cute is to use those little Tim Holtz brads that have the little, almost like a door knocker on them, you know, they have the little ring that hangs down. Not the big lions, but the other ones. I thought it'd be cute. And then on the blank pages, I finally decided I'm just going to leave them blank so I can put full-length pictures on them. And there we have it, the mini album out of the planner dies. If you have any questions about anything I made, let me know because I would be more than happy to answer the questions that you have. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry it was so long and really kind of disjointed. I hope you have a nice day, and thank you so much.